Convicted serial killer Bobby Joe Long of Florida was just executed. Long time overdue. Justice has finally been served. Now, rather than me tell you what happened today in the Florida Department of Corrections at Florida State Prison, I'm going to let you watch this news clip which describes his last meal request, everything that started from 7:45 a.m. this morning at Florida State Prison, and how he was feeling, what he was requesting, and what happened throughout the day. Also, I want you to pay attention. There's going to be a deputy on this news clip. She was there for the execution because she helped capture Bobby Joe Long many years ago, and she went there so that she can finally get a good night's sleep, as she says in the video. The video describes it a lot better than I do. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe to True Prison Stories if you like this video. And this is the execution of Bobby Joe Long, Florida.
This time he did that wrong, paid for it. You got to pay for your sin.
In less than an hour, convicted serial killer Bobby Joe Long, who terrorized the Tampa Bay area in the early 1980s, is scheduled to be executed. Long confessed to the rape and murder of 8 women, but investigators believe there were many more. News Channel 8's Evan Donovan joins us from the Florida State Prison tonight with the latest updates on Long's final day.
Minutes ago, we just got a briefing from Department of Corrections officials. They describe what's expected to be Bobby Joe Long's final day on Earth, which started about 7:45 this morning.
In accordance with Florida law, the department will carry out the sentence of the court in the state of Florida versus Robert Long.
Bobby Joe Long, one of the most infamous murderers in Tampa Bay history, spending his final day on death row inside the Florida State Prison in Rayford. Department of Corrections officials describing his final meal.
He had his last meal at 9:30 a.m. He requested a roast beef sandwich, bacon, french fries, and soda. Mr. Long did not have any visitors.
Officials couldn't say whether he took a sedative, but did say he was not visited by a spiritual advisor today. Then 8 on Your Side asked to describe his mood.
He was calm, quiet.
Calm and quiet in his last few hours, but his reign of terror 35 years ago was anything but. The man confessed to murdering 8 women, but investigators believe there were many more. Expected to attend the execution, Lisa McVeigh Noland, who helped catch Long after a horrific abduction, hoping seeing his death will help her put closure on that chapter of her life.
I'm hoping to get a full night's sleep without any interruptions. I have not slept since 1984.
We are about to head inside the prison to witness the execution. We will bring you much more later tonight at 11. At the Florida State Prison, Evan Donovan, News Channel 8.
You can see more about the execution and the crimes Bobby Joe Long committed in Evan's blog on the News Channel 8 app and on his Facebook and Twitter feeds. Lethal injection to end his life. We want to show you what it looks like right now outside the prison in Union County. Dozens of people here have gathered to protest the execution. News Channel 8's Evan Donovan is a witness to what's taking place inside, and he is putting together a special report for News Channel 8 at 11.
Set to begin at 6 o'clock this evening, but it was delayed for a little bit, and we understand it is now underway.
Our own Evan Axel Banks outside the Florida State Prison in Rayford. Evan, what can you tell us about the delay, and what do you think is going on right now?
Well, Mark, all we know, and Kelly, all we know is that there were 3 petitions filed with the United States Supreme Court by Bobby Joe Long's attorneys asking for a stay of execution. We know that those 3 appeals at about 6:08 were denied. At least that's when we got the appeals denied notices from the Supreme Court. So we also know that the execution was scheduled to begin at 6 o'clock. There is an open line, there is required to be an open line under state law between the executioner's room and the governor's office. The executioner asks the governor, has there been any reason for a stay? Is there any reason for a stay? Should we hold on? If the answer is a negative, the execution proceeds. So the question now, frankly, is just what's going on inside that chamber. Lloyd Sowers is in there. He is not allowed to have his phone in there, and I have no way of communicating with him. So the only way we're going to find out when Bobby Joe Long, if Bobby Joe Long is executed today, or if that procedure has begun, is from the Associated Press. The AP will be notified from the governor's office that the sentence from the state of Florida has been carried out. So it will go executioner to the governor's office, to the Associated Press, and then to us. It won't go any faster than that. So right now, all we know is that the scheduled time for execution was 6 o'clock and that those appeals for a stay were denied. We also know that Bobby Joe Long woke up at about 7:45 today, had a final meal at 9:30. He requested a roast beef sandwich with bacon, French fries, and a soda. That's all we know. We also know that he was described to being in a calm demeanor. So Bobby Joe Long right now scheduled to be executed at 6 o'clock. We also know he had no visitors today, neither from family members or from any religious figures or anything like that. So he is effectively alone inside of that execution chamber, other than the people who are there to do the actual execution itself. And then in the room next to it is our own Lloyd Sowers, along with many other people who were affected by this tragedy, other reporters, people who are related to the victims themselves. So that's all who is in the execution chamber or in the room next door. There were about 7 people at one time in that execution chamber, along with the inmate. So the bottom line, Mark and Kelly, is that we really just have to wait and see when this notice comes from the Associated Press. There was a brief delay, we understand, but the information, it's very difficult to get it because there's no real line of communication between us on the outside and those who are inside. So that's really the best I can give you right now, Mark and Kelly. Scheduled for 6 o'clock. It's interesting. It takes 34 years. It's often said the wheels of justice turn slowly, and as far as we can tell from out here, they continue to turn rather slowly.
Sure.
Joe Long is dead. The man who confessed to killing 8 women in 1984 and raping dozens more was put to death by lethal injection at the Florida State Prison earlier this evening. News Channel 8's Evan Donovan was selected to witness the execution. He will have much more coming up tonight on News Channel 8 at